Hi folks, welcome back to the shop here at Project Pine Hills. Today we're talking about this ANEX number 397-D Ball Handle Ratcheting Screwdriver. Now you can see it has 72 teeth. It's made in Japan. It comes with a dual bit screwdriver. You can see here on the packaging, they show that. Flip around the back here, you can see that made in Japan again. There's the dimensions of the screwdriver. You want to freeze frame and check that out. All right, let's take a look at this screwdriver. Now you can see here they have the ANEX part number right on the side of the screwdriver, that number 397. On the shaft, it shows the number 2 ANEX right there. And this is the ratcheting switch on the screwdriver here. The ratcheting switch is right here. You can see it's on full lockout mode. If I switch it to the right, that's loosening mode. If I switch it to the left, that's tightening mode. So it's a traditional ratcheting switch on here. I think of that as a sort of our typical ratchet. If you look at this Milwaukee, you can see there's an off and an on position. Would be nice if the vessel was marked with that on and off position. That would make it a little bit easier. If you look here on the handle, you can see it's stamped right in here, made in Japan, in the rubber Overmold. Now, I don't own a lot of ratcheting screwdrivers, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that when you pick one up, like this MegaPro, for example, you don't really know if it's in lockout mode or ratcheting. I usually have to test it and see where it's at. On the MegaPro, you can look here and see that it's got the notches for that ratcheting feature, but there's nothing indicating here which mode it's in on the actual handle. Same with this Klein screwdriver, right? If you look at this guy, right here, it's telling you that it has a ratcheting feature, but it doesn't tell you what mode it's in. So if you pick this Klein up, you kind of play with it and see if it's in lockout, is it in ratcheting, where is it at before you can go to use it. But what I noticed about this ANEX is that you know visually what mode it's in before you even start, just by looking at this switch. And what also struck me about it was that the lockout of the screwdriver. You can see here it's very tight. Most ratcheting screwdrivers have a fair degree of play, right? I can try these two different number 2 screws here and see that there's very little play in the screwdriver. Now, for example, compared to this MegaPro, I put this MegaPro on here and you can see it's on lockout and you can see the play in that screwdriver. So the blade is fixed in this mode. We look at the Klein, which is a great screwdriver, by the way, but we look at this Klein. You can see the degree of play it has when it's in full, when the ratchet's locked out. But if we look at this ANEX, very little play in this screwdriver. So I like that about it. And like I said, I like the fact that I know immediately when I pick this up if it's in loosening or tightening mode and what mode I have to be in. The other problem I found with ratcheting screwdrivers is a lot of times like on the vessel, they have that yellow ring on here on the one I've tried out on the channel and talked about before. But I find myself, when I'm tightening it, I'll bump that yellow ring on the vessel. This guy, I've tried it, I don't have that problem. When I'm tightening it, because of the design of the screwdriver and that switch, I've never bumped this switch by accident, right? Same way if I go over here to this guy, I'm loosening, I don't come into contact with the switch. So I think they've done a great job of locating the switch on this screwdriver. Now, one of the reasons I was trying this out is because I wanted to give ball grips a try, right? And I don't want to have to buy a bunch of ball grips. I want one to sort of rule them all. By the way, you can look at the end of the handle here and see that, they got that number 397 here on the handle. They tell you it's a 72 teeth ball grip, ANEX, made in Japan, ratchet screwdriver. So right away, it addresses a lot of the things I don't like about ratcheting screwdrivers. I know what mode it's in right away. There's really good lockout, so it feels very much like a fixed blade screwdriver. It has reasonably low back drag when you're using this screwdriver. I mean, I find, we'll test that in a minute. Very fine tooth count. This has a flip bit in it, so I can flip this bit out, flip it around, and go around to a flat bit. And the other thing I really like about this, and that's why I picked it up, to try these ball grips out, you can put any hex style bit in here. This quick release here is a little bit different than the Japanese, but when you put that on there, for example, I've got this Milwaukee bit I put on, the lockup's pretty tight, right? It's a really good lockup there on that. But I can drive anything that I would typically drive in an impact, right? Anything I would drive in an impact, I can put into this handle. That's what I like about it. For example, I can take this Malco here, this 4-inch Malco, pop it in there, use this guy, right? So anything that can take that, anything that has that quick release will work. Here's the Klein Tools driver. Now, the other thing I should point out is that it does, on quick releases, it does go in and click into place. And you could use it like that. But of course, when you go to put pressure down, right, the handle's gonna slide down the shaft because it does go in there pretty deep. So that's why I don't have that third stowed socket on here. It's because it needs to slide down. But anyway, I can drive this Klein as well, right? And I can quickly switch it, and that's another thing. It's not two-handed operation. There's a lot of benefits to this driver. It's not two-handed, it's one-handed, right? I can lock it up, I can change the modes. For example, how do I have to do it on this Klein? The Klein's two-handed operation, right? First, and one thing I've learned to make sure I know how to ratchet these, I've talked about this before, is I hold this ring and then I turn the handle the direction I want to go. So if I want to tighten, I turn the handle clockwise or tightening, and then I know which way to go. But my point is, it's two-handed operation, right? I've got to grab the ring and do this. I suppose I could do this to some degree. You can do it one-handed with this. A little bit awkward, but it can be done. MegaPro is kind of the same way. MegaPro, this one's really hard to do one-handed. You typically are going to use two hands, make a quick adjustment. You're not going to bump this by accident. I mean, that's one thing that's nice about the way they've designed this. You're back here on the handle, you're never going to accidentally turn the ratchet on or off. But, you know, it is a two-handed operation. You could try to do it with one-handed, but it's really not good with this one. Like I said, the Klein, you can do it with the Klein. You get in there and squeeze hard enough, you can make it happen. But with this guy, it's so easy, and you know exactly what you're doing. You're like, oh, okay, I'm loosening, tightening, locked out, you know, put it right on lockout mode. And you don't, like I said before, you don't bump it by accident. So I really think this is an excellent driver. If you're looking to try out ball grips, it's a great way to go. You'll see here it's kind of cut away on the ball, a lot like vessel screwdrivers, a little different design here. Also, as I look at this, you know, the rubber overmold on this is softer than this Klein. The Klein's a little bit, you know, harder. You know, if you're used to Klein, you'll know what that's like. This is a little bit more soft than that rubber overmold, and it feels really good in the hand. Another thing I like about this ANEX, it's really easy to operate with just your fingertips. So I can spin that screw right there with my fingertips. I get good leverage because of the size of this piece right here. Okay. Also, that's another point. You see I pulled that screw out. The bits are magnetic, okay? And they're magnetic, of course, out of the shank. I just want to show that to make it clear. See, the bits are magnetic right out of the box. I didn't magnetize these. But you can see here, I can operate this just with my fingertips pretty well, right? I can get that articulation on there. I really like that. And I can do that without bumping the ring. Again, the vessel that I've used before on here that takes multiple bits, it has a yellow ring here. If you're trying to do this, you could easily bump that ring by accident. I don't have that problem with this ANEX. So this ANEX really is an excellent design. I think people are really going to like it. And I think that it addresses a lot of the issues with your standard ratcheting screwdriver. And it's kind of hard to notice right away, right? But if you look at it, it really addresses it. It addresses, you know, the first thing it addresses is lockout. It locks out really well, feels almost like a fixed blade screwdriver. You know, the next thing it addresses is, you know, when you're tightening and loosening, and you can change it with one hand. You know just visually whether you're tightening or loosening. That's the second thing. Third thing is, it operates really well with your fingertips, right? Fingertip operation is excellent on this driver. And the fourth thing is, it can drive any bit, right? A lot of ratcheting screwdrivers are like this MegaPro. It's designed for C2 bits or 1-inch bits. You know, this guy, you can put anything in here. And if I wanted to drive those MegaPro bits, I mean, that's no problem. I can put this Klein in here and drive those, right? Or I could take this Milwaukee extension, 6-inch extension, I can put that in, take this C2 bit out, put that guy right in there. You can drive any bit you want, you know, with this handle. So it addresses a lot of the shortcomings and a lot of things I don't like about ratcheting screwdrivers, quite honestly. That's why I don't own a lot of ratcheting screwdrivers. And again, it's that thing where you pick it up and you're spending time, you know, figuring out which direction to turn it. Is it locked out? Is it not? It's an extra step that I don't want to take. So the only screwdriver I know that has that kind of lockout would be the PB Swiss screwdrivers that have excellent ratchets on them. They have like 100% lockup and there's no play, right? Well, this is awfully close for something that's a lot less expensive. So I'll have a link to this in the description. You can check it out. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick back drag test here. All right, testing back drag between these two screwdrivers. I have them both, you know, bound together so I can, if I turn them in the same direction, they're against each other. So I start turning the other way. And we can see here, the MegaPro has less back drag. Now we're going to try the Klein. Let's see how the Klein does. Lower back drag in the Klein. See that? This Klein does have excellent low back drag. I've been really impressed with the Klein. Just trying different positions here to see if well, the Klein is great for low back drag. So it has a little higher back drag than those two ratcheting screwdrivers, but it's not something that I feel when I actually use it, right? It's not something that I find problematic when I use this driver. I mean, it works excellent. And of course, it can break in after time. Excellent screwdriver here from ANEX. I'm super impressed with it. I think it's really going to give me an opportunity to try out ball grips in earnest and see what I think of them, and I think I'm going to like it. You know, currently I use a Klein driver to drive all these bits if I ever want to do so by hand. It's this Klein adjustable shank screwdriver, right? I can pull this in and extend out, and I can take the bit all the way out, switch it around to a flat bit, slide it in, right? And I can pick whatever length that I want. It has full lockup and feels just like a fixed shank screwdriver. See that? There's no play in that. The only play there is at the tip of the screw. You know, it's just the head of the screw playing back and forth. So this is the handle I typically use, but I wanted to try a ball grip. This ANEX gives me the opportunity to try out another type of driver and use it like I do this guy. In fact, we can even try taking this and putting it in there, see? I mean, this will even drive that long shank blade, right? Pull it out, flip it around. But, you know, now I have a ratcheting option. So I think it's a great way to try out ball grip screwdrivers. I'll have a link to this in the description. Let me know in the comments what you think of this ANEX. Have you tried one out? Are you thinking about trying one out? Because I've been very impressed with this. And please remember to like and subscribe. All those actions help me to continue to bring content to you here on the Project Pine Hills channel. And with that said, I'll catch you in the next video.